there, it's Sarah, and I'm down on the floor today to bring you 12 minutes of core work. So if you want to grab a mat and join me, or bring a towel down to your floor, get comfy down here because we're going to spend 12 minutes strengthening those abs. We're going to work for 2 straight minutes with 4 exercises, 30 seconds each. We'll take a quick 30-second break and then do 4 more exercises. We've only got time for 5 rounds of that because we've only got 12 minutes. So let's get to it. Start down on your mat or on your floor with your knees bent, your feet flat on the floor, and just bring those fingertips up to the temples. We're going to do 30 seconds, simple crunches. Tuck your chin down towards your chest, reach those hands up towards the knees, and bring them back up by the side of the face. As you crunch up, try an exhale, and then maybe an inhale on the way down. And we want to really pull that belly button tight towards the spine, and just slide those ribs towards the hips. 10 more seconds. And then pick a side. You're going to bring one knee up towards the chest as you lift those shoulders. So now reach towards that foot, then bring the shoulders down. So just one leg, same leg every time. Bringing that knee up and then tapping the toes down. Keeping that chin tucked to protect our neck because we're going to be crunching for a little bit. So really pull that belly button down towards the mat. Slide those ribs in towards the hips and crunch a little bit harder. We're going to start to extend this leg out. So we're going to bring it up and then extend it out. Bring the arms overhead. So crunch in and then bring it out. So you choose how fast we're going here. We've still got another round to work this core before we get a 30-second break. So if you want to keep it a little bit slower, if you need to rest that neck in between crunches, this is your workout. Do what works for you. At the bell, you're going to bring those arms overhead, keep the hands on the floor, and now we're going to bicycle our legs. So bring that other leg up and just extend one and then the other. And if this is too much for those lower abs, you feel that low back coming off the mat, just try alternating toe taps, keeping that low back pressed down, keeping those lower abs engaged. And if it's too much with the hands overhead, you can also bring them down by the sides. Bringing them up is just helping to engage the upper abs a little bit more as we work those lower abs. 30-second rest. Round 1 is done. Round 2 will start the same, simple crunches, and then we're just going to repeat. Same exercises, other side. So stretch it out for another 16 seconds, and then set yourself up for those crunches. Feet flat on the floor, fingertips up by the temples, chin tucked towards the chest, belly button tight towards the spine, low back down towards the mat. Get ready. 3, 2, 1. Crunch. Head down. So see if you can lift a little bit higher this round. The core is warmed up. Maybe you can lift those shoulders even higher off the mat. Really pull that chin towards the chest. We don't want to pull the neck. And if the neck does get tired, you can always lightly bring those hands behind the head and give it a little support. But keep crunching. This time the other leg. The knee comes up and then just tap those toes down. We're continuing to crunch. And if that neck starts to get too tired, even with a little support behind it, keep the shoulders down for a few and just really pull that knee up towards the chest and keep that core engaged. 10 more seconds. And then we're going to add that leg extension. Keep exhaling as you crunch, inhaling as you come down. Get a little bit more work out of that core. Now crunch it up, bring the arms up as you shoot that leg out. In and out. So some options here are to go back to that toe tap with the arms overhead this time. Keep those head and shoulders down. Maybe bring the arms overhead and just do the leg. If that neck is too tired, to keep crunching. Stay with it. 5 more seconds. At the bell, arms overhead, both knees up, bicycle legs. Keeping that low back pressed down. So if your core is starting to feel too fatigued and this is a bit too much, just keep those knees bent. Or bring the hands down by the sides. So do what works for you. 15 more seconds. Belly button really pulled down tight. like somebody's trying to stand on your belly. You gotta hold them up. 5 more seconds. Stretch it out. You got 30 seconds. So we worked those upper abs. We warmed up the lower abs. We fired up those obliques a little bit. Now we're gonna really focus on the lower body. So in 15 seconds, we're gonna keep those arms down by the sides, and we're just gonna do a reverse crunch. So you're gonna lift the hips using those lower abs, and then just lightly tap the toes back down. In 3 seconds, really anchor your shoulders down onto the mat, and use the lower abs to lift the hips, and then feel them engaged as you lightly tap those toes towards the hips, down on the mat. You choose how fast or slow you're going. Keep that belly button pulled up tight. In 10 seconds, we're going to add a leg extension to this, if you're up for it. And it'll just look like this. Shoot the legs out, and then crunch them back in. I'm going to have to scoot away from my table a little bit so I can really shoot those legs out. Now, if you don't want to shoot the legs out, if you tried it, your low back's feeling it more than the core in the front, then you're just going to go back to those toe taps with the reverse crunch. And if it's too much to shoot the legs out, then just keep them up towards the ceiling and do a little leg extension. Or shoot them down towards the floor as low as you can go. Woo! Now we're going to extend those legs at the top and then lower down. Bend the knees up over the hips, extend the legs up, lower the heels. As low as you can go without letting that lower back come off the mat. So you can challenge yourself, really slow it down, and find that point where, oh, that's where I start to shift the work from the front of the core into the low back. And that's where you'll stop. And for some of us, it may be here, and that's okay. Whew. All right, we're gonna bicycle those legs. Let's go again. Arms overhead, bicycle, bicycle. Focus on those lower abs. Reach those arms up. Press that low back down. Stay in it. Really firing up the core here. If you need to go back to those toe taps, please do. You've only got 2 more rounds after this. Let's release that core. We're going to focus on the obliques for our last 2 rounds. So you're going to keep the head and shoulders down, and you're going to take the arms out to the sides. Knees will stay bent right over those hips at about 90 degrees. And we're going to pick a side and just drop those knees to one side. As you do that, keep the opposite shoulder pressed firmly into the mat. So when that shoulder starts to lift up, that's the end of your knee drop, and then you come back. Don't let that shoulder come up. Get ready, 30 seconds. Drop and lift to the same side for the whole 30 seconds. Actually, for the whole 2 minutes. So keep that opposite shoulder firmly pressed into the floor and go as low as you can go. And it may get less as we work and fatigue those obliques. That's okay. At the bell in 5 seconds, we're just going to extend that top leg when we get to the bottom of our drop. So find the bottom of your drop and then extend that top leg, bend it, and come back to the center. We're going to do that for 30 seconds. Keeping that back shoulder pressed down. We're just increasing the work for this oblique. Let the side of the body control those legs. In 10 seconds, we're going to increase that work even more and extend both legs at the bottom of your knee drop. So you might have to drop just a little bit less to extend both legs and then bend and come back. Again, we want that back shoulder staying down on the mat. And we're using the side of the core to control this knee drop and hold, extend. 10 more seconds here. Then we're going to really fire up this oblique, and we're going to keep the legs straight as we drop to the side and then back. So extend those legs up and then to the side and back up. So you might find that you're not going very far before that shoulder wants to come off the mat, and that's okay. You're going to find strength in that range. Right where the shoulder wants to lift off, don't let it. So choose how far you can go. I know the side of the body is starting to get tired. So do what works for you for about 5 more seconds, and then you get to stretch it out for 30 seconds, and you've only got 1 more round. Quick stretch, release the side of the body. I'm gonna turn it around, and we're gonna hit the other side. So laying down on your back, knees bent up over the hips, take those hands out wide, glue those shoulders down, and get ready to drop those knees to the other direction. Keeping that opposite shoulder planted firmly into your mat. Belly button pulled in tight towards the spine. Let's drop and lift. Knees are bent for round 1. You know where we're going from here. So choose the range that works for you. One side might feel different than the other, and that's totally normal to be a little stronger on one side than the other. We want to protect the low back as we twist here. So keep that core on tight, and let's add that top leg extension at the bottom of your knee drop. And as you work, the bottom of your knee drop may be a little bit higher each time. That's okay. Or you want to challenge yourself, maybe to go a little bit lower each time. We're going to challenge ourselves with the load as we continue to work. So at the bell, we're taking both legs out. Here we go. And then bend back up over the hips. So they start bent, they extend at the bottom of your knee drop, then they bend and come back up. Keeping those shoulders pressed down. As you increase the load, you might have to decrease the range. Again, we don't want to let the shoulder come up. So if that means you're starting to drop a little bit less, that's perfectly fine. That's where you're going to get stronger. Legs straight. Drop and lift. So if it's a little lower, that's all right. Because those legs are starting to feel heavy on that side core. We've only got a few seconds left, so let's see if we can drop just a little bit lower. Maybe even a tiny hold before we come back up. Because your workout is almost done. Your 12 minutes is already up.
Activity completed.
That's it. Stretch it out. Release that core. Grab some water. If you want to do another workout, put on another video. If you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and click subscribe, and I'll try to share some tips throughout the week to help us get ready for those workouts. 12 minutes is all you need to stay on that path towards being stronger and fitter. Thanks for joining me even on your busiest days. Have a great rest of your day.